really lucky to have Alicia with us today, and thank you for your patience, Alicia, with our technical difficulties. Sarah and I had the pleasure of being able to hear Alicia talk about social media and analytics and all the other deep dive stuff that a lot of us communicators don't have a chance to brush up on. When she spoke to the state government communication network, about, I think it was probably a year ago, and it was so beneficial to me. I told Alicia I downloaded the recording, and even today, when I need to make a deep dive into something, I go ahead and rewatch parts of it, and I took notes, and by far, I felt like it was the most beneficial meeting that we had had all year for that group. So we're really lucky to have Alicia here with us today, and I'm just going to let her launch right in, being that I took up enough of your guys' time with the other delays. So welcome everyone. Welcome, Alicia.
Great, thank you, and no problem. So let me get this presenting here. Oopsies. I admit I don't present through Teams often on. Have you ever tried this present through Team button on PowerPoint? Anyone? Does it work pretty? I don't know if I should trust it.
Give it a whirl, Alicia. You got this.
I'm gonna try. Here we
Yeah,
go.
we'll see what happens.
It's just an experimental kind of day, I think.
I know. Oh no.
Well, we're not on Teams. So
We're not on Teams, so you're on Zoom. So you're gonna have to share your. It was like, I don't know.
That might be the first strike right there.
For sure. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm gonna see what I can. I'm gonna share my screen. I just want to make sure. I'm not sure if I've got the right.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna make sure that you have the ability to share.
I was just gonna say I'm having a hard time finding even the share.
There should be a green share button down at the bottom.
You are right. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna jump in here.
We're all gonna learn something today.
Okay. Does this look right for you guys?
Looks wonderful.
Yes. Okay, skipping the title. Okay, all right, we'll jump in here. I admit I made my presentation a little long. So if I seem like I'm kind of sprinting through this, I apologize. If any questions come up as we talk, please feel free to ask them. And if someone could please just let me know they're there, because most likely I'm going to be looking at my PowerPoint and not seeing them, so please interrupt. So you guys kind of know what we're talking about. We're going to go through overview of platforms and audience, the social marketing funnel, and how to interpret your numbers. That's where the bulk of my time is going to be, and then tips and tricks to spend less time and money. On that note, what we typically see in social media world are like the three big gripes of it, what people hate the most. The fact it takes a lot of time between differentiating platforms and messages to be social happy. Creating that content. Many times we have to be our own graphic designers, video creators, photographers. It can often be squeezed into existing positions. I'm assuming many of you are in that boat. I'm a lucky person who gets to focus solely on social, but I understand for many, this is just one aspect. And the fact that it's incremental, not exponential. Please never tell a social strategist, we want this to just take off, or we just want to get it out there. We hate those words. Social is a long-term strategy. If you find worth in it, be prepared to do it for a while. We don't know what it accomplishes for us. So we're going to talk a lot about what the data means and how you can incorporate that into your, story as far as, what your business or your communication goals are. And the fact that it's ever changing. Technology advances all the time. The platforms are constantly competing. User behavior shift between ages, geography, political sentiment, all of the things, and then trends that can flip a content strategy for the week on its head. So we'll talk about these a little bit scattered throughout, but then we'll address them all together at the end. And with hopefully maybe a little bit of a worksheet for you guys to take away from. So let's look at the platforms and where they're sitting in 2025. I'll let you read through the graphic, but Facebook is very much still king. I know it gets the sentiment that it might be old fashioned, but no, this thing is the giant of social. It has 3.6 billion active users a month. People expect that if you have a website, have a Facebook page, it has a massive user base and reach potential, highlight on, emphasis on potential. Brand recognition, incredibly advanced targeting with efficient cost spend and diverse organic and advertising tools. Its weakness is organic reach. So Facebook can fluctuate a lot more than other platforms when it comes to reach. Negative public perception as far as false information spreading or privacy concerns, and then an over-dependency on advertising. Instagram is the 4th most visited site in the world with 2 billion active users a month. This audience is much more engaged. It might not have the reach that Facebook does, but Instagram audience tend to be much more willing to interact with you through that platform than on Facebook. High focus on multimedia. You might find that as an obstacle, but for some it's potential. Large influencer and content creator community. Weaknesses, it's more expensive with limited advertising opportunities and not as many options to take people off of Instagram. Instagram does not play nice in website traffic. LinkedIn, much smaller, but a much more focused demographic. So nearing 1 billion users across the world. Most of these are 25 to 34-year-olds, mostly business to business marketing. 50% of the users earn more than 100,000 in a year, which means there's more potential for cost spend on that platform. It's employee driven and has a highly engaged audience. However, it's more expensive on advertising, not as diverse of tools, and they're typically slow to react or slow to adapt or struggle to incorporate user behavior changes. I'm not going to talk about X, Twitter, X, Blue Sky, or Threads. X is pretty volatile right now. If you don't know about this guy, Elon Musk lately, and Threads and Blue Sky are very much still in developmental stage. If you would like to learn more about those or chat, please send me a message or an email. I'd love to learn more about maybe what you know or what your questions are. But right now, we're going to stick to these top 3. So user behavior trends in 2025, these are also changing. People are starting to interact more in private spaces, therefore like DMs or saves. They always want an increase in authentic content and genuine interactions from your brand. Most social media users go to social media for entertainment, news, and relationship building, both with people and brands. So, and I want to emphasize the entertainment value of this for a second, because that isn't like a newer trend or a newer want we're seeing from consumers in like the last year and a half. Like they don't want to be just like informed or communicate with you. They want to be entertained by you. And these are my 2 favorite examples from local entities. The first is the city of Minot from a few years ago. All this is, in case you can't see it, is I think like a fried turkey station, like in the middle of a kitchen, which is extremely dangerous. And the only copy they had was 0 context, was just no. Lowercase n, no period, just no. And the thing took off. Grand Forks Police Department, winter storm rolling in. Everyone loves Elsa. And they used a poorly, the image isn't even clear. And it still took off, talking about this winter storm safety. So I just wanted to use these examples that no matter how serious of an organization you have, there is value in being entertaining when it makes sense and when it's appropriate. So this is just something to keep in mind as we try to pair our social goals with our content strategy. So now I'm going to jump into the marketing funnel. So a lot of us are pretty aware of this. It's a general understanding of a customer or consumer journey through knowing your business, knowing your brand or your entity. So at the top of the funnel, we have awareness. This is the stage that most people become aware that you exist. Underneath that is consideration, where potential, audience or customers are now aware of your product or your business, just kind of like insert the blank with this stuff. And they're starting to compare you to competitors. There's conversions, which is the customer taking a final step, whether that be purchasing, signups, or events. This can vary between, what your entity provides its audience or what your incentive is, and loyalty / advocacy. They become a repetitive customer. They recommend you to other people. They're a brand advocate for you or an organizational advocate, and they care about what you do, which is the primary goal and what social does such a good job supporting. Is if they care about you, they're paying attention to your social media accounts. So when it comes to wherever you're at with this marketing funnel and applying your social strategy to it, you want to look at all of these steps and see where you are at with either, how advanced your marketing, communication, social strategy is, how far along your organization is. Are people well aware of us? Or are they not well aware of us? And the data that you have to tell this story. So organic and paid on social function very differently. So we're going to go down the funnel in these two different pillars. So first you have organic or the earn strategy. I'm sure we're all aware that this refers to the free area of marketing communication opportunities social media provides. It is the primary driver of growth and engagement. In all the years I've been doing social media, I have not seen growth come from paid advertising or a paid campaign. It comes through organic. Keep that in mind if it's important for you to see growth. When building organic content, you want to ask yourself if it appears genuine, if it's timely, what the incentive is, what the goal for each part of the goal of each piece of content can be different. So as long as it fits underneath your overall mission, some content can be based on engagements, some content can be based on video views, some content might be trying to target this audience A, some might be trying to target audience B. As long as it fits under your scope, they don't all have to fit that same objective. And the content pace that works for you and your workload. Please make sure to keep that in mind. Don't say, I'm going to post every day if you don't think that fits within your workload. The goal is to stay consistent with what you're capable of. So let's start at the top of the marketing funnel, which is awareness. This is the stage at which most of your audience is first becoming aware of your brand, community, or product. Again, fill in the blank for whatever you are. This can either be you're just starting out in social strategy or communication strategy, or it can be, we just started this business or people aren't generally very aware of us. Great analytics that can track this kind of stage in the funnel are impressions, so the number of times your content is displayed, reach, the number of times people have reached, or the number of people it has reached, and views. Content to help generate these. Visually, vertically oriented images, things that stop the scroll. Photo galleries, which are proven to be top performers on Facebook. Second are static images. Third are videos on Facebook. Short form video to increase views. Increasing your views is the best way to reach new people on Instagram. They've been very transparent about that. They want you to create more short form video. Easy to read primary message focused graphics that we'll talk about in a second, and a high post cadence. A lot of the times I know that can be terrifying, but consider that every time you share something organically, most of your audience is probably not seeing it. If you have a strong message or something that you think will perform very well, repost it a few times in a month. There's nothing wrong with that, and most likely you're going to reach new audiences each time. I know photos and galleries are simple, but I do want to address these quick. Make sure that they're vertically orientated. This does increase performance. Almost all of your traffic on social is going to be on mobile. Vibrant colors that stand out, clear subject of focus. Make it clear what you want that person to be looking at. Galleries, these can be a little bit more technical. You want each of your photos to give additional context to your message. Don't use repeated photos that are similar to one another. And then also make sure that the formatted collage on Facebook crops your photos correctly. So if you do this within Meta Business Planner, Meta Planner, you will have some options to rearrange or crop your images. Or if you're posting directly from your phone, you'll have even more options. Just make sure that your photos are cropped aesthetically correct so it doesn't tank your message. Like I said, these are typically most powerful for Facebook. Graphics. This can be difficult. I know that graphics can sometimes come off as ads, but they do have a place in many of our communication strategies. My recommendation is to create 2 to 3 repetitively used graphics that apply to a consistent message. So, you know, we do a lot of grant work at Commerce. So here are 2 examples of ways that we communicate that. One, the bottom right has more text than I would typically like, but it does become useful when it comes to highlighting the people that are receiving grants, or if there's like a quick message that we want people to get. Keep in mind that no one is stopping for your copy on social. People are stopping for your creative. So if your social content, if the primary message is going to be copy-based, put that in your creative. So that's why we, in the top left, we just have simple message, regional workforce impact program reopens. That is the one thing we want people to know. We stop the scroll, we put additional context in the copy. Just please remember, primary message in the creative. I cannot stress that enough. Short form video, which we'll talk about a little bit more in depth later in the presentation. Start simple. Some of our strongest content is 7 to 10 seconds long, and that's even long, to be honest. Like, we've had some content that's 6 seconds that works fantastic, but just start small. In the audio library, look for that uptrending arrow. That means a lot of people are using that audio. Therefore, you might be seen more often. And when you're scrolling through Instagram, take advantage of this save flag down here. This is basically acts like a Pinterest pin. And when you see content that you think you can replicate for your own messaging, save it into a collection here for you to rebuild at a later time. Tools to help you with basic photo and video editing. Meta Business Suite does have a very simple reel builder. It's basically just going to be like, here's a few short clips, slap them together, put some copy up on top, and you can adjust the colors, pick your audio, and then schedule for a later date. It's pretty minimal, but you know, if you're starting out small, this might work great for you, and then you can schedule it for a later time. Unfortunately, there has not been a lot of great resources or great tools released for scheduling reels quite yet. You can find it within Planner. CapCut is a tool that I've played with, but I know quite a few people that use this consistently. It's great for stickers or GIFs. When you export it, it is going to have a CapCut word mark, but you can easily crop that out on upload by zooming in. Canva. I'm not allowed to use Canva at this state, but I have heard so much about Canva as a project manager, as a photo editor, video editor, graphic builder. It seems like this is just the golden child of asset creation. So they have free and paid versions, and I believe different packages throughout them. So please go check them out. And then keep in mind that you can A/B test organic. So when you go into a Meta Business Manager and you go to schedule a post, you're going to see this little, I don't know what you call it, like file. Like it basically just means it's time to A/B test. And from here, you can choose to edit copy or edit photos, to A/B test on organic, on do people want to see, you know, a vertical photo, or do they want to see a horizontal photo? Do they want emojis in the text, or they do not want emojis in the text? Keep in mind to only change one thing in your organic A/B testing, because if you make them vastly different, you're not going to know what the difference maker was. So if you do take advantage of A/B testing on organic, just keep in mind making small tweaks. All right, let's move a little bit farther down into consideration. This is the stage when potential customers are now aware of your product or business and whether it meets their needs, or if they find value in your messaging. It kind of goes back to like the entertainment portion of social media. They also start comparing you to competitors. So you can measure this by follower growth, engagements, or website traffic. Great content to help generate these. pose questions, fill in the blank, or request for feedback, taking advantage of trends. This includes audio creative formats or GIFs, and story content. Think about your employees, your customers, or your business path in order to get people to better understand you. So now, okay, they're following you now. Now, what are the key messages that you want those people to have? So here's, a poll / question. These are pretty understandable. You can find a lot of good examples online, but it's important to think about, again, what are people thinking about at the time that you're sharing this? It can be weather. Weather's a big one. Everyone's always thinking about weather. What are the current events? One of the biggest social media events in like the past decade or something was the last Olympics. Or even like what the day of the week it is. People are thinking about Mondays way differently than they're thinking about Fridays. And how can your content filter into that? Story content. Now, if you have, a team that you work with, really try to put in some work into trying to tell stories about your team. People are on social for other people for the most part. So think about who makes up your organization. This can be great for showcasing your culture. This can be great for showcasing or for recruiting content and celebrating your employees. Our LinkedIn, the things people want to see most on LinkedIn for our commerce pages are our employee focused, like, heck yeah, Ben, you did a great job today, good for you, or work anniversaries or welcoming new employees. Obviously, make sure you have consent to do these things, but they do make for fantastic organic content. And here are some examples to the right that you can use these, or you can format these, I should say. And trends. So I know that a lot of us can be kind of iffy on trends, but keep in mind they can come in a lot of different formats. So trends are basically strategic copycatting, and there are multiple forms of it. You can do it within copy. So these are some of the biggest trends we saw in like 2024, in case you don't recognize them. The very demure, very mindful copy. This is what a local business incorporated into their copy to, it was a gym specifically. We let Gen Z write our marketing script. This one, I admit, took a little bit more time, but it made for some great organic results when we walked around Bismarck and let a Gen Z intern use all their weird slang they have to talk about all these different attractions. Audio, remember that trending up arrow. Subject, Boudang. So if you don't know about this pygmy hippo, this thing went crazy in 2024. And people found so many unique ways to use him. So sometimes they were, incorporating him into photos or, video and things of that sort. NFL on ESPN, this was their example of Moodang. And then you have GIFs a lot. Like, keep an eye out if you see repetitive GIFs being used. This is also a trending type of content. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. I got some water. Or format. This one's a little older. I tried to embed a video, but it didn't quite work. Where we have a Google zoom in on a location and you highlight it. A lot of these trends can sometimes solidify themselves in social strategy if they're strong enough. And why is all this silly content worth thinking about? It's because it's going to be probably some of your strongest. It's going to show that your brand or that your organization is up to date, that we are authentic and human, but you need to make sure that your messaging fits into that fits into that trending content, or else it's going to backfire. Consistently, this is the strongest content we have, is when we are jumping on trends and mixing in our own primary message. So now I want to talk just a little bit about video, which I know for many, we don't want to talk about. We are already so busy creating content, personalizing it to the platform, to our different channels. And now social is asking us to do the hardest type of content creation and to do it consistently. But luckily, there are some ways that this has gotten a little easier. But first, let's look at what the data says behind video and why it's important. Instagram and Facebook users spend half their time watching Reels within the app. Reels are the primary generator of views on Instagram, which is the primary driver of their algorithm. 50% of people say they interact with primarily Reels. So if you are trying to accomplish an engagement strategy, start using Reels. 90% of users find video much more memorable. Facebook Reels, this is anecdotally for me, we don't see Facebook Reels go quite as far as they do on Instagram. So we use them sparingly. I will share video or Reels specifically on Facebook only when I feel pretty dang confident on them, or if they did very well on Instagram. And to the right here, you see a poll that was done by Sprout Social that didn't even have just like video as a tab. There's actually 5 different forms of video here. Short form, short form, short form, and then live. Oh, and then long form down here. So if you're not incorporating video into your strategy, if you feel you have the resources to do so, I would highly recommend you start testing this within your own capacity. I'm going to kind of breeze through this here because I know we're going to run short on time. Templates on Instagram, please look into them. It's a really awesome feature of how you can easily build videos on your phone using a template and then dropping in your own media. It has saved me so much time, but please look into it when you have a chance. I don't have time here in this presentation to walk through it. Okay, so now let's jump down into conversion. Customers taking that final step. A lot of the time, this is asking your audience to take an additional step outside of social, which means that it's harder. So this could be a purchase, website traffic, website traffic specifically, if you don't have anything to sell, or if you really have like a reach objective, or you're really focused on your communication strategy and just trying to get your message as far as you can. Website traffic is one that you should consider. Profile visits, saves on Instagram, or lead generation. Make sure that you have the tools to reliably track these results and the source they're coming from. So like Google Analytics or third-party reporting apps, you want to make sure that you know where or if social is the thing driving these results. And it does take, it takes an additional step of looking into your data to do so. So tips for conversion content, a lot of the times this is like incorporating other elements into content we've already talked about in the upper funnels, which is purchase, shoppable post, Instagram shop tag, Facebook stores, website traffic, include links in your content or in the first comment, since there are many believe that Facebook down or pushes down your algorithm if you put a link within your content. Take advantage of stickers that can get, or for stories and reels that can bring you to your website, and make sure that your website has valuable content that people can only find there. So they need to go to your content or to go to your website in order to find your information. Don't give it to them all on social. Profile visits, focus your efforts on more organic reach and engagement. Follow me to learn more. Saves on Instagram, build content that is highly actionable. Includes specific information that people can access and understand quickly from their back pocket. And then lead generation, where you have to make sure you supply information on your website only you can provide, with additional resources or a click through or a call to action to stay up to date on other channels. This is going to be best done through paid. So then let's jump down to advocacy and loyalty. This is where people become a repetitive customer, recommends their product to or other people, and your true brand advocate. So I say this is a lot of this content is around supporting your existing audience. And on social, this is vitally important. Just because you have, it's not all about growth. It's not all about, having the most followed page. You also want to take care of the audience that you have. They followed you for a reason, and they're going to be your greatest drivers to start new customers on top of your funnel of awareness and consideration and down again. It's the cycle of social. So you can determine this on engagement rates and the amount of times your content has been engaged with compared to the amount of times it's seen. Shares, it is a huge compliment if anyone is sharing your content on their personal pages, or tags, hashtag use, anything saying like, I am engaged with your brand on social. What you need to consider, what has already performed well, and reposting that. What aspects of your audience do they all have in common? What is the most universal thing that they can all relate to, and how can you incorporate your message into it? And the content is primarily focused around engagements and keeping brand love high. Sometimes this may appear off-brand or, kind of outside of your mission. But again, this is all about getting more people to start on the social media funnel. I like to think of it as kind of like the word of mouth marketing of social. So here's some examples of what I mean from our tourism account specifically. No one's coming to North Dakota to drive down a dirt road in the middle of winter. But a lot of our audience can relate to how peaceful and quiet that is. They love that type of content. Same thing for sundogs. Sundogs normally mean it's like -20 or something. No one's coming to see a sundog. But a lot of our audience can relate to it because it's unique to North Dakota, it's unique to our climate, and we all enjoy seeing them. And then time content. I mean, you're going to be invested. If you know Medora, if you've been to Medora, you're going to be far more invested in this then and now content than someone who has no idea what Medora is. And like I said before, the more you support your existing audience and advocates, the more people will start down your social media funnel, and then so hopefully, keep the cycle going. Now let's jump into paid. How much time do we have here? All right, I'm gonna try and speed through this and just kind of like hit the high points for you. So paid or targeted content, because I sometimes feel like paid social is a little bit of a dirty word. It implies that, marketing or, conversion objectives should be free. They almost never are, no matter what marketing platform you're on. You are paying for this stuff in some capacity. So I like to think of it as targeted, but that's just me being technical. Your content appears, so there's a lot of benefits to it. Your content appears to the people you want it to reach and are more likely to convert. It also opens up niche advertising. The data is much more reliable and much broader. Earned or organic leaves a lot of room for interpretation without repeated experimenting. It is easier once you understand how to use these tools. You can support a quality over quantity kind of strategy. And keep in mind, your time is also money. Like, you might not be throwing, $20 at this post, but you are there. Your time matters. Please keep that in mind. Social is one of the cheapest ways to achieve trackable digital results, much more cost effective than traditional marketing. Here is a little bit of understanding for how much things are going to cost you. Website traffic, I want to call that out specifically because it varies by far the most based on industry. And before you start, maybe determining some of your own benchmarks, please do some research around industry specifics. All of these are going to vary. This is just an average across social. So let's talk about Ads Manager. This is, an advertiser's best friend. The pros, it has so much data and it is really designed for long-term strategy. The cons, it's difficult and complicated to use if you haven't been in it before, if you don't use it consistently. Mind you, I use it consistently and I still get confused all the time. So I just want to walk you through a quick campaign, how to, and just some of the things I want you to keep in mind when you're building these things. So you're going to have 3 different steps to building a social media campaign. When you first start out, you have to choose what your campaign is about. What are you trying to accomplish, and your payment strategy, aka your objective. So I'm going to back up here. These are your objectives. What do you want the person to do? Facebook is not just going to, target people, is not just going to charge you for this action. They're also going to find people who are most likely to do those actions. So if someone is more likely to comment or likes photos more often than maybe going like clicking website links, they're not going to send them website link content. They're going to send your website traffic content to people who typically click on website link content. So keep that in mind when you're advertising. And then your payment strategy. Targets, who are you trying to reach? How are you trying to reach them? AKA your placements, your budget and timeline. And then in your ads, that's where you get into the creative, your photos, video, copy. So one step at a time here. You start with your campaign. Your buying type can either be auction or reach/frequency. An auction, you're going to bid against other people who can be targeting against same audience or objectives. It's more flexible, less reliable results. Reach/frequency, plan and buy in advance. You're much more in control and reliable results, but it's much more manual reviewing of auctions. And then you choose your objective. And then you go into your ad set. This is where things get fun, because this is where you start talking about targeting. So you can choose your conversion location. This is your placements, essentially. Your budget, you can choose between a daily budget, so spend $10 a day, or a lifetime budget of spend $100 within a week. Schedule, like I said, back to placements. And then you can duplicate to target multiple audiences within the same campaign, or A/B test results, which we'll get into a little bit farther down the line. Or actually, no, we're going to get into it now. So let's say we are advertising for a conference coming up. And within this conference, we have multiple different audiences that we're trying to reach. So in this example here, we're going to target photographers, and we're going to target social strategists. This is just like a random example. So you're going to create 2 different ad sets that are going to talk to each of these audiences separately, but all to drive traffic to your event website. So first, we're going to target photographers, and you're going to target them based on their interests in photography. And like, let's say camera brands, they buy a lot of stuff on social that have to do with cameras. Target these people. And then social strategists, where in North Dakota, interest, social media strategy, or marketing. And then we get into our ads. This is where we start building, like I said, our specific ad. So you create your ad from scratch, or you can pull in an existing post from your newsfeed. You can use a Creative Hub mockup. You can use a collection ad. You can have single photo, like I said. Carousels have actually been performing quite a bit more than in the past. You have Creative Hub, where you can like quickly edit creative, kind of like an in-house photo video editor. And these are just a few examples. There's actually quite a few more that you can use. Keep in mind that Meta has released quite a few AI options for reformatting your content. They claim that this will, increase your click-through rate, or, save you money, but use them sparingly. From what I've seen, they start messing with your creative and your messaging that you really tailored and tried to make look nice. And their whole pitch is that, like, well, if you mix it up, people are much more likely to, interact with it if they see it in different formats. I'm a little bit of a non-believer, but use it within your own capacity if you find value. So this is all pretty straightforward here. You're going to fill in your primary text. You're going to have your headline, your description, your call to action, and then the destination you want to send people to if you are, shooting for website traffic. Take a look at your previews here. Make sure these are all formatted nice. It takes quite a bit of time. Mind you, you can, actually turn off these placements if you don't want to manage all of this stuff and you want to go like just straight to the newsfeed. Here is where we can, A/B test within advertising, and it opens up, quite a few more doors than an organic test. So you can A/B test placements, delivery options, topics, creative. So you can A/B test a photo to a video, or a carousel to a static image. You can test shorter copy or longer copy. You can incorporate emojis. You can also A/B test like we're doing in our A/B test between photographers and social strategists, like interests. So are the photographers going to be more engaged with this conference than the social strategists? Or what creative works for social strategists? It's going to be photo or it's going to be video. So then if we keep on going down the line here, and I apologize, I am kind of sprinting right now. To overview that again, in our ad targeting photographers, we're testing if we have if an ad with a photo or a video is more successful. Within our social strategist audience, we're targeting if copy with emojis or no emojis is going to be more successful. And the goal is that we're going to learn a little bit more specifics about this audience for the next time that we target them. So in our next time we target them, we know that our photographer audience, they want photos. So let's make sure our next ad, we're going to use specifically photos. Now let's A/B test shorter or longer copy. For our social strategists, they don't want emojis. They want, just clean text. Now let's see if, social strategists want, normally you can do the same as what you did with the photographers. Do they want photo or video now? And as you continue to go down the pipe, you're going to be able to get more and more specific to these audiences and cater to them and have cheaper, more effective results. So this is basically, what I just said, just turning it into a graph. The more you repeat this process, the more you're going to get to know your audiences and the more effective you're going to make your campaigns. I'm going to kind of skip boosted posts, but if you have never done advertising before, I would definitely recommend you just start with boosted posts. You're going to find a little button down here underneath your organic content that's going to say boost. This has boost again, we boosted it before. And you're going to get a simplified version of Ads Manager that's going to basically walk you through the same process. The pros of this is that it's simple and easy to use. You get insights before you target because you can see if this post is already performing well organically, then most likely it's going to perform well with paid. And it's also seen in the newsfeed. It sounds a little shallow, but if you have people that are monitoring your accounts or want to see success publicly, this might be a good idea because paid advertising is targeting specific people and are not within your newsfeed. This is within your newsfeed. Cons, limited customization and limited targeting tools. Again, I'm not really going to walk through these, but this is an option. If you've never tried it, dip your toes in the water. Some tips to keep your costs low. The biggest thing that's going to drive up your costs or drive down your costs is your objective. So keep that in mind that some are just going to be flat out more expensive and there's nothing you can do about it. Audience targeting. Some audiences may cost more than others. Too small of a reach will increase the amount of times people see your content. Too high and your results will get expensive. Niche can be a double-edged sword. Trying to reach, like I said, those smaller audiences can be expensive. However, if you do it effectively, it can be super cost effective at the same time. Industry, research those benchmarks. Don't set any standards for yourself unless you know how other people in similar organizations are seeing what their results are. Your competition, are they advertising at the same time? Are they targeting the same audience? This will drive costs up. Time of the year or holidays, work around these. Time of day, even. I don't mess with manual timing. I just let it, roll 24/7. But technically, the lowest costs are between 12 to 6 a.m. due to decreased competition. So I want to wrap this all up and go back to the big obstacles and just overview here some of the things that we talked about. Like I said, like we all know, it takes a lot of time to address these. Research what platforms work best for your goals and stick to them. Don't try to be everywhere. You're just not going to do yourself justice or your communications or marketing strategy justice by trying to do everything for everyone. Repost important messages. Repost past strong performers or boost them. Explore Canva, mobile app creators or templates. Explore AI tools. I didn't even touch AI because that is a whole other conversation. as far as all the different ways that AI tools can help you within social. Build graphics that can be easily tweaked for consistent messages, organize your assets. It has saved me so much time by having a library of assets that I can quickly pull things from or edit working files. Set attainable and measurable results or goals for your content or your advertising strategy that are sustainable for you. Plan ahead, create a calendar. So, you know, just a little bit of thought in the beginning can save you a lot of time in the end. We don't know what accomplishes for us. So really determine where in the marketing funnel does your business or your organization sit. Communicate and work with leadership on this. So you're on the same page and working towards the same analytics that they want to see. Do you have the means to reach these? The time, resources, money? What would you need in the future to accommodate these needs? Marketing funnel cadence. So, you know, how often are you trying to speak to your existing audience? How often are you trying to speak to your new audience that's just at the awareness phase? And get in the practice of consistently reviewing your data and what time range you're comparing it to. Are you going to do month over month? Are you going to do year over year? If you're just starting out, I'd suggest month over month. If you've been established for a while, go year over year. And then the fact it's ever changing. Sign up for social newsletters. I love social media today. They send me a daily newsletter of just like things I need to know. Most of the time I don't read it. Sometimes it's extremely valuable. Make time for continued learning. Be open to new ideas and pushing your brand to be flexible and take a few risks. Find a way to organize your ideas and make social messaging a standing agenda item when you're in group meetings. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up because I feel like I've been talking at like 200 miles an hour. If there are any questions, please let me know. If not, thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Alicia. We just had a few questions in the chat here that I'll ping off of you. I think the first one probably was answered, but was that A/B testing option in Canva or Meta? I believe you said it was in Meta, correct?
Meta. Yep. I'm not sure about Canva. They might. I think I've heard that Canva has a social publishing tool, but again, I'm not super aware of everything Canva can do. I just know a lot of people love it.
Okay. And then also a random question, but do you use different copy for different platforms? It's easy to copy and paste, but is there a benefit to switching the verbiage between?
Yeah, yep, typically I do. I will, it's not consistently all the time. Facebook will lend itself better to like longer copy than Instagram would, or Threads or Twitter. LinkedIn can also, you know, maintain longer copy as well. But I typically only mess with the length. The tone and the general information is going to be the same, but I will do longer copy for Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. And then another one, when choosing a graphic for a paid ad, do you find it works best to use just the photo or include text on top of the photo?
That's a really good question because I have not done an A/B test on that in quite a while. We typically stick with just photos, but we make sure that the copy and then the headline and byline all, you know, speak cohesively to each other so the ad is all easily absorbable. I don't think I've A/B tested putting copy within the creative in an ad in a while. So whoever asked that, if you do A/B test, please let us know how it went.
All right. And then how do you handle issues with Facebook ads, Facebook page merge, other issues? Support doesn't seem to help. And I just have to laugh because I had that same problem too. I asked to pay for like 3 ads, and next thing you know, I was being charged for like 20, and
You know, that's I relate to that incredibly. Facebook help is a joke. It's not help. It's basically, you know, I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if if it's people that even work in the social media industry, but they're not going to be very helpful. I would definitely recommend reaching out to, counterparts if you're running into any kind of technological issues. That's what I do. If anyone has been able to like figure something out, or if you do work with an agency, they come with a lot of experience of like how to fix connection issues. I would almost say, unless you're in like an emergency situation, don't go to Facebook help, reach out to counterparts. They're going to be the ones that you'll be able to see the most progress with.
We ditto that. And then how do you take ownership of or set up social media tags for your business?
Tags. Yeah, so we do that. So if I could get a little bit of clarification, do you mean like tagging like within your content, so like tagging partners, or do you mean like thematic tags to pull into reports?
Rhea, did you want to take yourself off mute and ask that?
Yeah, so sorry, my dog's barking. I don't think you can hear, but
No worries.
yeah, so like our hashtag would be NDCA because that's the acronym for North Dakota Council on the Arts. So I want people to be able to tag us. And I know they've tagged our website and our socials by using our account name, but is there like a fun, like NDCA is #1 or whatever, something, how do you like set it up so that those tags are all geared towards you?
So to be able to, if I understand your question right, so to be able to like track hashtags or like interactive content.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be best done in a third party platform. If you're with the state here, and I'm sorry for people that aren't, Meltwater can do that for you.
Oh, I see.
Where they can track interactions, like track your hashtag, track your mentions, all of the things like that. So we do that within our Meltwater tool. Because some of those lower funnel and our objectives, like I mentioned, like you're going to need a third party tool in order to reach those, because they are much more difficult to reach and track. As far as organic social goes, Instagram has locked down their hashtag tracking. You might be able to find like a few things within search, but they're going to be pretty limited. So unfortunately, we're kind of handcuffed to the public data that Meta provides.
Sure, I get it. Yeah, because there's notifications when someone tags you on Meta Business Suite, but all they do is send you the notification. They don't count how many notifications you got in a month or anything like that, right?
Not that I'm aware of. No, and there might be a filter somewhere in your notifications. I haven't tried that in a while because I'm typically like, just give me everything and I'll deal with
Right.
it. But there might be a filter within your inbox that you can maybe like switch on tags over a certain amount of time. Again, something I haven't tried, but there might be
changing every
there.
day, I'm sure. So okay, yeah, I'll take a look at that. That made me think. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, thanks all. Thanks for joining us today, and especially thanks to Alicia. It was very beneficial, and I learned even more than I felt like I learned last time. And this was a popular one with everybody. And just a reminder too that apologies for the time lag on our end, but this was recorded. So we'll put the recording out on our YouTube channel. And Sarah, did you have any last plugs maybe for our state conference or anything, or not?
I was gonna say, Alicia, if you can send me like a PDF of your slides, we can share those too when we share with a group. But I was also going to let the group know that registration is open for North Dakota Professional Communicators Spring Conference. We will be in Minot on May 9, and we got a pretty exciting lineup that I won't go into a lot of details now, but look for social media posts and email blasts on our upcoming event, and do check it out. Our early registration deadline is April 11, so you've got plenty of time to get signed up at the early registration rate. But yes, registration is open for our spring conference, and again, May 9 in Minot.
Great. Well, thanks all. Have a good rest of the week.